The galaxy had never known a celebration like this. Every world, every space station, and every colony was alive with lights, music, and joy. Ships that had been grounded for decades soared through the skies, leaving trails of colored energy that painted the stars. The Krasan Dominion, the feared enemy that had spread terror across 100 systems, was finally destroyed. Or at least, that was what everyone believed. Commander Elias Trent stood on the observation deck of the Aurora's dawn, his hands gripping the railing as he stared out at the glowing horizon of the capital planet, Lithera. The celebrations below seemed distant, almost unreal. Ships danced through the air in coordinated loops, alien species paraded through the streets, and humans cheered alongside their allies. There were fireworks in every city, and drones filled the skies with holographic displays of past heroes. And yet, Elias did not feel joy. He had been a part of the battles that had brought the Dominion to its knees. He had seen planets burned, families torn apart, and allies fall in countless skirmishes. Victory should have felt sweet, even miraculous, but something gnawed at him, something he could not shake. "Commander Trent," said Sarah, a young engineer from the Velan species, her 3 eyes wide with excitement. "Look at the reports. The Dominion's final fleet is gone. All systems confirm no movement. The war, it is truly over." Elias turned to her, but his eyes were still on the debris field beyond the atmosphere. "Yes," he said slowly, "but the debris, the formation is strange, too neat, too controlled." Sarah frowned. "Too controlled?" "It's supposed to be the remains of their fleet. Isn't that normal?" "Not like this," Elias replied. He tapped a few keys on the console, bringing up scans of the wreckage. Ships were scattered, yes, but the distribution was artificial. Patterns in the fragments suggested an organized retreat or even a planned evacuation, not a desperate defeat. Sarah's 3 eyes blinked in surprise. "You think some of them survived?" "I don't think," Elias said firmly. "I know." Across the galaxy, celebrations continued. In the human sectors, families hugged, soldiers let down their masks for the first time in years, and leaders gave speeches praising unity, courage, and the end of conflict. Flags from a dozen worlds waved in the sunlight, their colors bright and untainted by war. Entire cities had been rebuilt in record time, and entertainment stations broadcast songs and performances non-stop. But for Elias, none of that mattered. The war was not over. Not really. The Dominion had always been clever, always anticipating the next move, and Elias could feel it in the patterns he was studying. His communicator buzzed. It was Darian, his closest friend and pilot. "Trent," Darian said, voice tight. "What are you thinking? Everyone is celebrating. Everyone thinks we won." Elias sighed. "I'm thinking what you should already be thinking, Darian. The Dominion isn't gone. Not completely. I need to know why." Darian laughed, though it was uneasy. "You're always like this. You see danger in the sunlight. You read the patterns in every star. Why can't you enjoy a moment?" "Because moments end and wars don't," Elias replied. "And when we least expect it, the Dominion could return. We can't afford to be blind, not even for one day." Sarah and Vecron, a seasoned veteran who had fought the Krasans for decades, joined him. Vecron grunted. "You've got a sharp eye, Trent. I can see why you're unsettled. The Dominion never leaves anything to chance. And this debris, it doesn't lie." The 4 of them stood in silence for a moment, listening to the distant cheers below. They were humans and aliens, friends and comrades, united by the horrors of war and the hope of peace. And yet, in their hearts, a shared unease lingered. Night fell across Lithera, and the celebrations only grew louder. From the observation deck, the lights of the cities were dazzling. Fireworks reflected off towering crystal spires, and ships twirled like fireflies in the sky. A parade of holographic dragons danced across the clouds, their shapes casting giant shadows that moved as if alive. Children ran through the streets, their laughter mixing with the music, their joy complete. Elias turned back to the holographic map of the debris field. He zoomed in on one cluster. The fragments formed lines too straight to be random, paths too precise to be coincidental. Someone had organized this. Someone had survived. "What do you suggest?" Sarah asked quietly. Elias did not answer immediately. He knew the council would dismiss any claim of survivors. They had already declared the war over. The galaxy wanted peace, and no one wanted to hear that danger still lurked. But Elias could not ignore it, not when the lives of billions might depend on it. "I suggest we start small," he said finally. "Gather data. Trace patterns, find out where they went. If I'm right, we'll know before anyone else does. And if I'm wrong, well, at least we tried." Vecran nodded slowly. "I like your style, Trent. Never trust the celebrations too much. I've seen too many victories vanish overnight." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the Krazon Dominion was not celebrating. Hidden in the void of an uncharted sector, a command ship hovered in silence. Its armor was scarred but intact. Inside, the Krazon commander, a towering figure of shadow and red eyes, examined reports on human and alien movements. "They celebrate prematurely," the commander hissed, its voice a low growl. "They think we are gone. They think their victory is complete." A subordinate approached. "Commander, the survivors are reorganizing as you ordered, but the humans, especially their leaders, they suspect something. There is one human, Commander Trent. He notices patterns. He might be dangerous." The commander's eyes narrowed. "Humans," it said slowly, almost in reverence. "So small, yet so determined. Perhaps it is time to see what one can truly do when the rest are blind." Back on Lithera, Elias and his team prepared their preliminary scans. The ship's AI, ever helpful but not intuitive, highlighted several anomalies in the debris field. Patterns suggested repeated coordinates, escape pods traced arcs to distant uncharted regions, and certain wrecks were too intact to have been destroyed. "They left behind deliberate signals," Elias said, pointing to the map. "They want someone to find them, or they want someone to be misled. Either way, it's a trap we need to understand." Sarah's three eyes focused on the holograms. "How do we even start? The Council will never approve a mission in uncharted space." "Then we don't tell them," Elias said. His tone was firm, commanding but not harsh. "We prepare quietly, study the data, and make contact if necessary. The galaxy is asleep. If we move carefully, we might stay one step ahead." Night turned to day, and celebrations did not cease. The human colonies were vibrant, alive, and hopeful. Children played among statues of past heroes. Streets were filled with food, music, and laughter. Galaxies away, alien families shared stories of survival and resilience. Every species had been touched by the Dominion's terror, and every species now believed in the dawn of peace. But Elias could not celebrate. He could only move forward. He called a meeting with his closest allies. "Tomorrow," he said, "we start tracing the anomalies in the debris. Every fragment, every pattern, every signal will be analyzed. We do it quietly, we do it carefully, and we do it knowing that no one else may understand why." Darian leaned back, running a hand through his hair. "You always take the hardest path, Trent, but I'll follow you. Humans follow humans who don't stop, even when others rest." Vecran grunted. "Count me in. It's been too long since the galaxy faced a threat alone. Let's see if we can learn something before it's too late." Sarah smiled, though a hint of worry flickered across her face. "Then it's settled. We move forward, even if everyone else stands still." That night, as Elias stared at the stars, he felt a mix of dread and determination. The galaxy was asleep, blind in its joy, and somewhere in the darkness, the Dominion waited, organizing, preparing, and hidden. But humans did not stop. Humans moved forward. Elias whispered to himself, a quiet vow to the universe. If no one else sees it, I will. If no one else acts, I will. And if no one else moves forward, I will. And with that, the first step of a dangerous journey began. The next morning, the galaxy still basked in the glow of victory. On Lithra, citizens celebrated openly in streets and plazas. The colors of celebration stretched across city skylines like a river of light. Holographic banners carried the faces of heroes, and monuments of humans and aliens alike reminded everyone of the sacrifices made. But on the observation deck of the Aurora's dawn, Commander Elias Trent moved quietly among his team. He did not participate in the festivities, nor did he feel the peace that seemed to blanket the galaxy. His mind was fixed on the strange debris patterns he had seen the previous night. "This is it," he said, turning to Darian, Sarah, and Vecron. "Today we start. Today we find the truth that no one else wants to see." Sarah adjusted her tools and activated her scanning module. "The Council will never approve this," she whispered, her 3 eyes glinting with worry. "If they knew we were tracing the Crazon anomalies again, they'd stop us immediately." "I don't need approval," Elias said simply. "We don't ask permission when the galaxy is in danger. We act." Vecron nodded. "I like that. Action over words. We'll trace the anomalies and see where they lead. The Dominion isn't gone, I can feel it. Let's hope we're fast enough." Darian, ever the pilot, grinned. "I just hope the stars don't bite us first." Elias allowed himself a small smile. Even in tense moments, the camaraderie of his team grounded him. They were human and alien, young and old, yet united by one principle: never stop moving forward. The first step was to study the debris field in depth. Using advanced scanners, the team began mapping each fragment of Crazon ships. The patterns were subtle but consistent. Wreckage that had clearly been moved, escape pods launched in precise directions, and communication echoes suggesting an organized evacuation. "It's like they left a trail for someone," Sarah said. "Or maybe a trap. Either way, it's intentional." "Exactly," Elias replied, "and I intend to follow it." As the day progressed, the team pieced together a probable trajectory. The signals pointed to an uncharted region beyond known space, a dark corner where few maps existed. "This region isn't on any official chart," Darian said, scanning the data. "It's like it doesn't exist for the Council or anyone else. Perfect for hiding a fleet." Vecron muttered. "The Dominion always hides where no one looks. They learned well from centuries of war." By the time the Aurora's dawn prepared to depart, the galaxy was still celebrating. Fireworks filled the skies, parades marched in perfect synchronization, and citizens danced freely on every world. Ships zipped through the air, leaving trails of light behind them. But Elias's ship moved silently, unnoticed, into the void. The team's journey through space was tense. Even though the route was plotted carefully, every jump into deeper space carried uncertainty. Unknown gravitational fields, rogue asteroids, and remnants of Crazon mines made each move dangerous. "This place feels empty," Sarah said, scanning the darkness. "No life, no signals, just silence." "Silence can be a weapon," Vecron said. "The Dominion loves it. They'll wait until we're deep enough to strike before showing themselves." Elias nodded. "That's why we stay alert. No mistakes, no shortcuts. If we fail here, it won't just be our lives. It'll be the galaxy." Hours stretched into days as the team followed the faint Crazon trail. The debris and signals led them farther from mapped space than anyone had ever ventured. Communication with the Council was cut off intentionally. Even their most advanced relay systems could not penetrate the void around them. "This is why the galaxy sleeps," Elias said quietly, staring at the stars outside the ship's viewport. "Because it cannot see what is hidden. But we can, and that's why humans move forward." Suddenly, the ship's sensors picked up an anomaly, a faint, organized structure floating in the dark. "What is that?" Sarah asked, leaning forward. Elias's eyes narrowed. "A construction site, or a fortress. The Dominion is building something large here," Vecran growled. "Larger than we imagined. This could destroy entire systems if they finish it." As they approached, the scale became apparent. The structure was enormous, a complex of armored hulls, energy fields, and docking stations. Lights flickered inside, revealing ships in various stages of assembly. Even from a distance, it was clear. The Dominion had survived, and now it was planning something devastating. "We underestimated them," Darian muttered. "We thought the war was over. We celebrated too soon." "Yes," Elias said, his voice tight. "But we're here now, and humans don't stop when others rest. We move forward, even when the rest of the galaxy sleeps." The team devised a plan to gather more information without being detected. Using cloaking technology and stealth protocols, they sent small drones into the Krazen fortress. The drones relayed images back, massive weapons being constructed, fleets being repaired, and soldiers training for war. "This is bigger than anything we've seen," Sarah said, her voice trembling slightly. "They're preparing for total domination. Systems we thought safe. They could fall in hours if we don't act." Elias studied the data. "And if the Council remains blind, we're the only ones who can stop them. We need proof, and we need a way to get back safely. The galaxy can't fight what it doesn't believe exists." As they worked, the Krazens seemed to sense something. Sensor sweeps increased in the fortress, and drones were almost detected several times. The tension aboard the Aurora's Dawn rose. Every beep and every movement of a Krazan patrol made the team hold their breath. "Evasive maneuvers ready," Darian whispered. "If they spot us, we're gone. No hesitation." Vecran grunted. "Let them try. Humans don't back down when we're right." Hours of careful surveillance yielded crucial information. The Krazens were developing a weapon capable of disabling entire planetary defenses. The sheer power of it sent chills through the team. "This is why they survived," Elias said grimly, "and this is why they waited. They wanted the galaxy to rest, to celebrate, to be blind. But we're awake now." The team knew they could not fight the fortress alone. Their role was reconnaissance. Gather proof, observe the enemy's plans, and return with evidence that could rally the galaxy. "Getting out won't be easy," Sarah said. "The patrols are strict, and the patrol AI is adaptive. One mistake and we're finished." Elias nodded. "We don't have the luxury of mistakes. We move carefully, we move smart, and we move as one. Humans are stubborn, our best trait, and today, that stubbornness will save countless lives." As night fell in uncharted space, the team prepared to send their findings back. The data would take hours to transmit across vast distances, and any interception could alert the Krazens. Suddenly, a new signal appeared, a faint distress call originating from the inner section of the fortress. "What is it?" Darian asked. Elias studied the transmission. "It's Krazon, but different. Someone is trapped or requesting help. This could be a trap, but it could also be a chance to learn more. We'll observe, not engage. We can't risk direct contact yet." The team watched, tense, as a small Krazon vessel emerged from the inner structure and disappeared into the void. The data it carried could reveal critical details about the weapon and the fortress. "We follow it," Elias said, "but discreetly. Every second counts. One wrong move, and it's over." The chase began, silent and calculated. The Aurora's dawn moved like a shadow among the stars, following the vessel deeper into the uncharted region. As they pursued, Elias reflected on the difference between humans and other species. Where others might rest in comfort, humans pushed forward. Where others saw victory and stopped, humans sought the truth. And now, that truth was leading them into the heart of danger. Hours later, the Krazon vessel reached a hidden docking area, and the team recorded its movements. Inside, critical schematics and logs were visible, plans for the new weapon, troop movements, and strategic targets across multiple systems. This is proof, Sarah said softly, awe and fear in her voice. This is what the Council needs to see. Yes, Elias said. And it's our responsibility to get it to them. The galaxy may have celebrated too soon, but we will correct that. We will make sure humans and all allies are ready before the Dominion strikes again. The team retreated carefully, cloaking their ship and hiding in nearby asteroids to avoid detection. Their mission was far from over, but they had the first pieces of the puzzle. They had seen the true scale of the threat, and for the first time, they knew just how serious the danger was. As the Aurora's Dawn prepared to jump back toward mapped space, Elias addressed his team. We have proof, and we have a plan. The galaxy thinks it is safe. It is not. But humans will move forward. When others sleep, when others celebrate, we act. That is who we are. That is why we survive. And that is why we will lead again. Darian, Sarah, and Vecran nodded. There was no celebration, no fanfare, only determination. Together, they would bring the truth back. Together, they would ensure that the Dominion would not rise again. And somewhere, deep in the shadows of the fortress, the Krazons watched. They had not seen Elias Trent or his team yet, but one thing was certain. Humans were awake. Humans were moving forward, and that small spark of defiance could change the fate of the galaxy. The journey back would be dangerous, but Elias knew one thing. Victory was no longer assumed. Peace would have to be earned, and the first step was keeping the galaxy from celebrating too soon. Humans never stopped moving forward. The journey back to mapped space was tense. The Aurora's Dawn moved silently, cloaked among the shadows of asteroids and drifting debris. Commander Elias Trent sat in the cockpit, eyes scanning the stars, alert to the slightest anomaly. He knew that any misstep could alert the Krazons to their presence. "Status report," he said, his voice steady but tense. Darian's fingers danced over the controls. "All systems nominal. No Krazon sensors have detected us yet, but the closer we get to mapped space, the higher the risk of patrols." Sarah, sitting beside the navigation console, adjusted the data streams from the reconnaissance drones. "The schematics we captured show the weapon they are building. It's massive, and it's designed to destroy entire planetary defenses in one strike." Her voice trembled slightly. "If they finish it, whole colonies could be wiped out." Vecran leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. "Then we need to get this back to the Council. That's our job. Warning the galaxy, preparing defenses, that's what humans do. We don't wait for others to see what's coming." Elias nodded. "Exactly. Humans never stop. We push forward even when the world sleeps, and that is what will save millions of lives." The first jump toward mapped space was smooth, but as they emerged from the jump point, a Krazon patrol appeared, fast, sleek ships scanning the void. "They've noticed something," Darian said, tightening his grip on the controls. "We need to maneuver, now." Elias gave the order. The ship lurched, dodging between asteroids and abandoned wrecks. Cloaking technology hid them partially, but they were not completely invisible. The patrol fired pulses of energy at their last known position, missing by mere meters. "Close call," Sarah muttered. "Too close. They're adapting faster than we thought." Vecran grunted. "Good. We'll make them chase shadows while we bring back the truth." As the chase continued, Elias reflected on the Krazon's strategy. The enemy was clever, ruthless, and patient. They had waited for the galaxy to celebrate, assuming no one would notice their survival. But humans noticed. Humans acted. That small, stubborn spark was enough to challenge an entire empire. Hours later, the patrol gave up, retreating into the shadows. The Aurora's dawn continued its course, cloaked and careful, carrying the most critical intelligence the galaxy had seen in decades. "This is it," Elias said quietly. "Once we reach the Council, everything changes. The galaxy has celebrated too soon. Now we make them awake." As they approached mapped space, communications channels opened cautiously. Elias began transmitting fragments of the captured schematics, encrypted to avoid interception. But just as they prepared to leave the uncharted region completely, a signal appeared on their sensors. It was faint, but unmistakable. A distress signal coming from a small vessel drifting near the outer edge of the Krazon fortress. "What now?" Darian asked. "We barely escaped, and now another signal?" Elias studied the data. "We can't ignore it. It could contain information about the weapon or personnel who can confirm our findings. We observe first. No engagement unless necessary." Sarah adjusted the drone feed. "It looks like a transport ship. It's damaged, barely moving. Could be trapped survivors or bait." Vecran growled. "If it's bait, the Krazons are bold. If it's survivors, they could have critical intel. Either way, we need eyes on it." Elias ordered the drones to approach. The feed revealed a small Krazon transport, its hull scarred, its systems failing. Inside, data logs flickered on damaged consoles, showing construction schedules, fleet movements, and weapon test protocols. This confirms everything," Sarah said, her voice barely above a whisper. "The weapon will be ready in weeks if they aren't stopped." Elias nodded grimly. "Then there's no time to waste. We gather what we can and return immediately. The galaxy cannot wait for a full celebration to end. It must prepare." As the drones transmitted the data, a new threat emerged. A squadron of Krazon fighters appeared, cutting off their path to jump coordinates. The Aurora's dawn could not outrun them without engaging, and engagement was dangerous with the precious data on board. "Prepare evasive maneuvers," Elias ordered. "Use the debris. Make them think we're trapped." Darian guided the ship expertly through the asteroid field. Energy blasts whistled past, missing by inches. Cloaking modules flickered under pressure, and the ship shuddered with the strain. "Almost there!" Darian shouted. "Just a few more meters." With a sudden burst, the ship used a hidden jump point discovered on the recon mission, vanishing into mapped space before the Krazons could react. The team exhaled collectively. No one spoke for a few minutes, the tension lingering like static electricity in the air. "Too close," Sarah said finally. "If they had caught us, it would have been over." "Survival isn't luck," Vecran said. "It's humans moving forward when others hesitate." Elias leaned back in his chair, staring at the screens showing the retrieved data. The schematics detailed a weapon capable of massive destruction, fleets prepared for war, and strategic plans covering dozens of systems. The Dominion was not defeated. They had only hidden their hand. The Aurora's dawn finally reached a secure jump point near human space. The ship's AI processed the data, compressing it for rapid transmission to the Council. Elias prepared a message explaining the situation, making it clear that the galaxy's leaders had to act immediately. But he knew it would not be easy. The Council had already celebrated. Many would refuse to believe that the Dominion had survived. Some would consider the warnings exaggerated. Yet Elias had no choice. The galaxy's survival depended on one stubborn truth. Humans would not stop moving forward. As they approached the nearest human system, a new signal appeared, this one different, urgent, almost desperate. A small human colony ship had been attacked by Krazon remnants, barely escaping with minimal damage. "This is our proof in action," Elias said. "We're not just speculating. The Dominion is real. They're still a threat." The team prepared the Aurora's dawn to relay all captured intelligence directly to the Council. Encryption layers ensured that no one, not even Krazon spies, could intercept the data. Every detail, from fleet movements to weapon schematics, was transmitted with care. Hours passed. The tension was unbearable. Then, confirmation came. The Council received the data. Communications opened, and alarms spread immediately. "This is unprecedented," a Council officer said. "We believed the Dominion destroyed. We celebrated. But this is undeniable." Elias stepped forward via secure link. "You celebrated too soon. The Dominion is alive, reorganizing and building a weapon capable of massive destruction. Acting now is the only way to protect billions of lives. Humans are moving forward, and you must too." There was silence, then agreement. The Council mobilized immediately, calling on fleets, scientists, and strategists across human and allied species. Vecron leaned back, his old face tense with relief. "It's working. They're listening. Humans always push forward when it matters most." Sarah smiled faintly. "The galaxy might finally understand what humans can do. When others sleep, when others rest, we act." Darian's hands tightened on the controls. "We've done our part. Now the real fight begins, and for the first time, the galaxy can face it prepared." But Elias knew the danger was far from over. The Krazens had not yet fully revealed their hand. The weapon, the fleets, the fortress, it was all still out there, and every moment delayed gave the enemy time to strike. He turned to his team. "We've done well, but the fight is not over. The galaxy celebrated too soon, but we've given them a chance to act. The next steps are critical. We move forward, we lead, and we ensure the Dominion does not rise again." Vecron grunted. "Humans never stop, and that is why they survive, why they lead, and why they will fight again." Sarah adjusted her console. "We've observed, collected data, and warned the galaxy, but we will need to continue monitoring the Dominion's moves. They won't wait forever, and neither can we." Elias nodded. "Tomorrow, fleets mobilize. Strategists plan. Scientists accelerate weapon defenses. And we make sure the Dominion does not have the advantage again. This is why humans never stop moving forward, even when everyone else believes victory has been won. We prepare, we act, and we protect." As the Aurora's dawn entered orbit around a secure human base, Elias allowed himself a brief moment to look at the stars. Somewhere in the darkness, the Krazons watched, unaware that one human had uncovered their secret, and one team had altered the course of history. The galaxy had celebrated too soon, but because humans refused to stop, because humans pushed forward when others slept, there was hope. And hope, Elias knew, could never be defeated. The fight was not over. The danger had only just begun. But this time, humanity led. Humans had moved forward. The council chambers were filled with tension. Holographic displays floated in the air, showing star systems, fleet positions, and schematics of the Krazon fortress. Every member of the council, human and alien alike, stared in disbelief at the evidence Commander Elias Trent and his team had brought back. This cannot be," said one elder alien representative. "We believe the Dominion destroyed. We celebrated, and yet this weapon, this fortress, these fleets." Elias stood quietly, his eyes scanning the room. "You celebrated too soon," he said firmly. "The Dominion is alive, and they will strike if you do not act. We have proof, we have the location, and we have the enemy's plans. The galaxy can still be protected, but only if you move now." A murmur ran through the chambers. Some leaders looked hesitant, reluctant to accept that the war was not yet over. Others, Those who had fought alongside humans nodded grimly. They had learned a long time ago that humans did not stop, even when the rest of the galaxy rested. Vecron, the veteran, stepped forward. "Commander Trent is right. We cannot wait. Humans push forward. They see danger when others see victory. They act when others hesitate. And today, humanity's vigilance gives the galaxy a chance to survive." The Council finally agreed to mobilize. Fleets from multiple species were ordered to prepare for immediate deployment. Scientists accelerated defensive weapon production. Star systems strengthened their shields, and communication lines buzzed with urgency. Meanwhile, aboard the Aurora's Dawn, Elias and his team prepared for a direct approach to the Krasin fortress. Their mission was critical: provide real-time reconnaissance, assist in strategy, and ensure the combined fleet struck effectively. "Ready the cloaking," Elias said. "We'll be their eyes inside the storm." Darian's fingers flew over the controls. "All systems ready. Cloaking stable. Drones operational. We're set." Sarah monitored the schematics of the fortress. "It's huge," she said, "and heavily defended. But there are weak points: transport bays, sensor arrays, and energy conduits. If we guide the fleet, we can strike efficiently." Vecron's eyes gleamed. "Then let's make every strike count. One human leading a fleet can make the difference between survival and annihilation." As the combined fleet approached the Krasin fortress, the first challenge became clear. Enemy scouts detected the fleets and engaged immediately. Lasers, missiles, and energy pulses lit the void as the first battle began. The human pilots led with precision. Darian maneuvered the Aurora's Dawn close enough to relay enemy positions, but far enough to avoid direct fire. The fleet followed his lead, targeting weak points, disabling shield generators, and neutralizing weapon arrays. "This is incredible," Sarah said over the comms. "We're hitting their critical systems before they can react." Elias knew it was a dangerous balance. One mistake, and the fortress could launch its devastating weapon before it was destroyed. Timing was critical. Every move had to be perfect. Hours into the battle, the Krasins realized they had been outsmarted. Their fortress was well protected, but the humans' strategy, combined with the intelligence Elias had brought, allowed the fleet to dismantle critical systems faster than the Krasons expected. Vecron cheered as one massive energy cannon went offline. "That's one down! Keep pushing!" But the Krasins were not giving up. Reinforcements arrived from hidden sectors, and the fortress retaliated with waves of fighters and automated defenses. Elias took a deep breath. "Darian, lead the fleet through the asteroid belt. Sarah, keep monitoring the fortress core. We hit it at the right moment, and the rest follows." The maneuver was risky. The fleet wove through jagged rocks and debris, dodging fire from enemy turrets. Several ships were damaged, but none lost. "This is why humans never stop," Vecron said, a proud smile on his face. "Even when others flee, we fight forward." Finally, the moment arrived. The fleet, guided by Elias's team, concentrated fire on the fortress core. Explosions rippled across the structure as shield generators failed one by one. Energy conduits overloaded, sending massive arcs of electricity across the hull. Inside the fortress, the Krasin commander roared in frustration. "They should not have survived! They cannot know!" But the humans had known. They had seen the fortress, studied it, and moved forward while the galaxy slept. Their stubborn determination, their refusal to rest or celebrate prematurely, had brought them to this decisive moment. With a final coordinated strike, the fortress's main weapon was destroyed. The Krasin fleet scattered, their morale shattered. The remaining soldiers retreated into the void, their empire crumbling before the combined force of humans and allies. Elias allowed himself a brief exhale. It's done. The weapon is destroyed. The fleet is defeated. The galaxy is safe. For now. Darian grinned. For now? You always say that, Trent. Because peace is never permanent, Elias replied. But today, humans moved forward when others hesitated, and that made all the difference. Back on Lithera, the galaxy's citizens watched as the news spread. Holographic feeds displayed images of the destroyed fortress, the retreating fleets, and the heroic actions of the combined forces. This time, the celebrations were different. There was joy, yes, but it was tempered with respect and awe. They knew the victory had been earned, not assumed. Sarah looked at the celebrations from the deck of the Aurora's dawn. They finally understand. Humans never wait for safety. We act when it matters most. Vecron chuckled. And that is why humans lead. That is why we survive. Others celebrate too soon, but humans always push forward. Elias turned to the horizon, watching the stars. Somewhere beyond, the Crazons would regroup, but their plans were broken. Their fortress was gone, their fleets defeated, and the galaxy had been awakened in time. The Council held an emergency session to ensure defenses would remain strong. Systems were repaired, intelligence shared, and new strategies developed to prevent any further surprises. Every species, human and alien, recognized the importance of vigilance. And throughout it all, one truth remained clear. Humans did not wait. Humans acted. Humans moved forward when others hesitated. The celebration this time was genuine. Not blind joy, but a recognition of courage, determination, and the unyielding spirit of one species that refused to stop. Elias watched the stars, thinking of the sacrifices, the narrow escapes, and the courage it had taken to reach this point. The galaxy would remember this day, not as the end of war, but as the day humanity proved what it truly meant to move forward. Darian clapped him on the shoulder. You always lead us into danger, Trent, and you always make sure we survive. Elias smiled faintly. Not me alone. Humans as a whole and our allies moved forward. Together we changed the galaxy. That is what matters. Sarah adjusted her tools. And together we'll make sure the Crazons never surprise us again. Vecron nodded. We've done well today, but remember this. Why, young ones, humans never stop, and the galaxy owes its life to that stubbornness. As the sun rose over Lithera, casting golden light across the city, the galaxy celebrated. Ships flew overhead, music filled the streets, and banners waved in the gentle breeze. Children laughed, families hugged, and every species shared stories of hope and courage. But at the center of it all, Commander Elias Trent and his team knew the deeper truth. Peace was fragile, danger always lingered, and vigilance was eternal. The galaxy had almost been blind. They had almost celebrated too soon. But humans moved forward, and because of that, the galaxy survived. Elias looked at the horizon one last time, whispering quietly to himself. When others rest, when others assume victory, humans will move forward, and when humans move forward, hope lives. And with that, a new chapter began. The Dominion had been defeated, for now, but the galaxy knew one thing for certain. As long as humans moved forward, no enemy could ever take them by surprise.